there! Today we are talking about 30 and 30. This is a manga challenge created by Izzy from Happy For Now, Shay, and Ashley. And I will link all of them down below. Izzy and Shay are kind of like the big manga readers that I follow, and this is a challenge to read 30 manga volumes in 30 days. Usually, if I recall correctly, they take place in April and September. Now, I really wanted to attempt to do this, but as I said in my last video, I had some medical stuff going on, so my desire to do anything went down the toilet, but I still ended strong with 22 volumes in September. And honestly, this has put me back in a manga mood. I am gonna keep going. There's a series that I ended up really loving, so I'm gonna blast through that. I have almost all of it through my library still. I just went to the library the day before yesterday after work and picked up like, I don't know, like 6 volumes of manga and a few other graphic novels. So it has really like sparked this like craving to read more manga and graphic novels. I think the way I'm going to do this is I'll go chronologically, and I will group any volumes together that I read kind of out of order, because I was reading like some of them a couple of times as waiting for the library hold, etc. So we will just start chronologically. And to kick off September, I read Yona of the Dawn 43 and 44. I don't know what to say about this series. It is volume 43 and 44, so anything I could say would be a big spoiler, or I'd have to explain so much, especially with the arc that's going on right now. I do believe that the mangaka is starting to wrap things up, so that means I don't know, I have no solid ground anymore. I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know what to expect. I have no a feeling that all of my favorite characters are gonna make it. It's a wild emotional ride at the moment, and 43 and 44 especially are dealing with the dragons in a way that is completely new, and I'm gonna be an emotional wreck until the end of the series, basically, is what's happening with this. So I am buying this physically. I have them, they're just in the other room. I don't want to get up. And I love this series so much. It is my favorite manga series, if you didn't know, so highly recommended. I love it so much. Next, I read the first 2 volumes, 1 and 2, of Kaguyasama Love is War by Akasaka. I actually read this on the suggestion of one of my coworkers. He really loves the anime, and he loved the anime so much that he went and bought, the entire series. And I tried the first episode of the anime, and my husband loved it, which is exactly his kind of humor, and it is my humor too, but it was a little too chaotic for my brain. So I thought maybe reading this story in manga form would be a little better. But I also found it still a little tiny bit too chaotic for my brain. So my coworker let me borrow his volumes, so I've already given them back. I'm glad I tried it out. I'm not gonna object to watching it here and there while my husband is watching it. I just don't think I could watch like constant back-to-back episodes of this story. It's essentially a story about 2 high school students who are the president and vice president of like I forgot what it is, basically the student club, and they're like the best students, the smartest, the highest grades, etc., top of the class. But they both believe that to be the first to confess their feelings for one another is losing the battle, and they can't lose. So it's essentially just a ballet of them trying to get the other to confess first. And it's like, I love that idea. It's just it's chaotic for me. It's a little too chaotic for me. So as much as I enjoyed it, I had to bow out. Okay, next, and part of this is like stuff I've heard of, part of it is just random stuff I was finding through my library, and the next one is one of those. This is Land of the Lustrous Volume 1 by Haruko Ichikawa. This is a kind of sci-fi story where it's set on this version of Earth where all of these characters are essentially a type of crystal, and they're made out of crystal, but they can form like human bodies. And there are people who live on the moon, and the crystals are so valuable that they have to constantly fight off the lunar people who come in to try to get them, to break them into crystals, to have crystals. This was no, I didn't like it whatsoever. It was just confusing. It just felt pointless. Like, we're supposed to follow this one crystal who always wants to fight, but she's one of the most fragile, and she's tasked with like finding out the history of something, but she hates it. And then she's just going around talking to other crystals and inserting herself into places, and stuff happens, and it's just really confusing. And for a series that is about different gems, you would think that it would be easy to tell them apart, but no, everything looked the same. And every so often, like, things would go into this kind of like flowy, almost abstract kind of feeling. Like, I had no idea what was going on, and I just didn't like it. So I just read that first volume, and that was it. All right, another library find was To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts by Maybe. I just read volume 1. This is a story kind of in like an alternate American Civil War, where these massive beasts were created to help fight in the war, and I believe for the Union. I'm pretty sure it's for the Union. And after the war, there's this girl. Her father was actually one of these men who was turned into a beast, and she is going to try to avenge him or something, and she runs into this guy who is actually going around killing the beasts. This was just meh. I didn't care whatsoever about the story, about the characters. Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be like this mystery with the guy who's going around killing the beasts because he used to be in the war with them, and then every time they go to a beast, like, there's something, something going on with that particular beast that makes them tragic. And I was just like, I didn't care. And it was just it was so weird to see the Civil War through this lens. Like I wonder if this is how this must be how people from other countries feel when American media does weird shit with their history. It was weird. I didn't like it, so I did not try anymore. Next, I read Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, Volume 4 by Kanehito Yamada. It's Frieren. If you know manga or anime, you know Frieren at this point. It is the story of an elf who is part of this like Dungeons and Dragons-ish party, and we start the story with her after that first party is done and they separate. 50 years later, she comes back and the hero has died, and Frieren is trying to figure out how to connect with people. It's lovely. It's a slice of life. It's just really good. This volume was not quite as like interesting for me. I think it was still good. I still gave it 4 stars, but there's just tiny like parts here and there where I just kind of lost interest a little bit, but then I'd come back. But I'm definitely continuing in the series, and I am absolutely going to watch the anime at some point. Next, I read one of my favorite series going on right now, My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom, Volume 9. This is an isekai, essentially, where this young woman dies, but she's reincarnated as the Villainess in an otome game, and she has to figure out how to live her life in a way where she won't get the doom ending. And along the way, she eventually, because she's reincarnated as a young child, and she meets all of the main characters from the otome game as she's growing up, as she goes, and oh, God bless her, I love Katarina so much. The way she goes about life, she doesn't realize that she is actually a very good person, and literally all of the friends, everybody around her are just like dumbfoundedly in love with her, whether that is romantic or friends. She's so oblivious. I love her so much. I love the cast of characters around her. This volume is probably the first volume since the first 1 or 2 that has really disappointed me, because this is really such a transitional volume. We end Katarina and friends ending the magic school, and they're starting their adult jobs at the magic bureau or something. So it's very transitional, not a lot happening. And then there is something with So, like I said, Katarina is very oblivious, and every single male character is basically in love with her, and she doesn't really know that all of them are. But her adoptive brother, who she grew up with, is also in love with her, and he expresses his feelings for her, and she's just kind of like, I don't know, and she kind of puts her head in the sand. Then there's a moment where they're having like a sleepover at their house, and Katarina goes into his bedroom just in like her pajamas or something, and he like acts in such a weird way that it makes her uncomfortable, and then he plays it off as being like, Katarina, stop being so trusting, I could have done anything to you, and then he kicks her out of his room. And I'm just like, why did we have to do it that way? Why do we have to do it in such a way that makes Katarina seem so, like, I know she's oblivious and that is part of the fun of it, but she doesn't have to be, it didn't have to make her seem so like childish and immature about it. Like, it just rubbed me the wrong way. This volume also reveals that there was a second game, and it seems like in the second game Katarina comes back as the villain again, and possibly the ending is death this time, not just doom. So now she has to go about life trying to figure out how to avoid the ending without actually knowing anything about the game. So I'm happy for that setup. I can't remember if volume 10 is out, but if it is, I'm gonna read it pretty soon. I love this series. I love this series quite a bit. I know there are a lot of isekai out there, but this is the one I latched onto. I love it. Okay, next two volumes. I read volumes 1 and 2 of The Two of Them Are Pretty Much Like This by Takashi Ikeda. This is just a sweet slice of life yuri romance. It's these two characters who live together. One is 30, the other is 20. They both work in animation. I think one is a screenwriter, the other is a voice actress, and it's just about their cozy slice of life. I don't know what else to say. There's not much here. If you like slice of life, if you want a cute romance, it's here. It's very cute. It's what it says on the tin. That's it. I do have my window open because it's actually very cool out, but the neighbors still have their AC running, so it kicked on. So if you hear any weird sounds, that's what it is. All right, the next two I read. Ladies on Top, volumes 3 and 4 by Nejigana Meta. This is a steamship title. If you don't know what a steamship title is, it's essentially vaguely erotic. And I can't remember where I heard about this. I'm pretty sure it was Shay. But I just kind of love this because it's about this couple who are together, but they are trying to figure out how to be together sexually, and they don't really know they're trying to figure out the compatibility because the guy's having a lot of trouble during sex, but they also realize that he likes it when she is aggressive, when she is the one on top, essentially. So they're just trying to figure things out together. It's really cute. I like them as a couple. Volume 3, I ended volume 3 pretty pissed because they introduce a third guy who is kind of coming between them, and I was just like, why are you doing this in the middle of the story about a couple trying to figure themselves out? Why would you throw in this guy who likes her and is trying to date her? Like, why? Then because I had volume 4, I read volume 4, and it turned around. It completely turned around with that guy. In my head, I was thinking it would actually be so much fun if they did this thing, and it kind of did. Kind of. I am so literally, I went from a 2.5 rating to a 4 rating because I was so happy how the volume 4 ended. So yeah, I am very interested to see where things go. So this couple is cute. There is like erotic stuff on page. I can't remember if you don't actually see like genitals on page or anything like that, but there's a sex toy on page and stuff like that. So I enjoy this. It's very cute. It's very adorable. I like it. All right, next I read Cat Plus Gamer Volume 1. This is basically a slice of life. Are you sensing a pattern here? Slice of life manga about a woman who all she does is work, and then she goes home and games. And one day at work, someone finds a stray kitten in the building, and she out of nowhere agrees to take the kitten and adopt it. And it's just this is just about her life adjusting to the kitten, and a lot of her like approaching taking care of the kitten as if it was a game. I liked it, but it's not quite what it's not quite interesting enough to me to want to continue this on as a slice of life manga. So it's very cute. I think it's very cute. If you love cats, you're gonna really love this. So I think give it a try, but it just wasn't for me in the way where I would continue this as a whole series. Next, I read the Green-Yuri manga. This is so funny. In my book club Discord, someone mentioned that they were going to read the Green-Yuri manga, and I was like, wait, I know what that is, and other people also knew what that were. So we created a buddy read, and my copy came in from the library. I'm gonna get it here. Too many shelves. The Green-Yuri manga. I just, for me, I thought, oh, you know, I knew this cover, I knew this green, like it's the Green-Yuri manga, but the entire thing is green. But anyways, this is a teen romance essentially about this girl who really loves rock music, and she goes to this store and she kind of like is enamored with the guy who works at the store. They wear a face mask, you know, but it turns out that the guy is actually a girl, duh, and it's her classmate who sits next to her. So then there's kind of like a you've got mail-ish situation. It's really cute. It's about the two of them, but it's also about them figuring out life, being kind of off the beaten path a little bit. And the art is just incredible. Not just the color, but the art is so freaking good. I'm like mesmerized. It's just so dynamic, the color works, and the emotion, there's just so much going on. And where's this, hang on, so look at this, it's gorgeous. And then the next page, she looks so cool. I'm just stunned by the artwork on every page. Like, it's so good. I liked it. Read on to volume 2. Sometimes the art can be a little much, but you just take it slow and it just really works. I'm glad that the whole like one of them knows but the other doesn't thing is resolved in a way that isn't like that. It didn't bother me with being super melodramatic. It was still a serious thing, but it didn't really bother me with, because that I don't like that kind of theme or trope. But yeah, it was really good. It's the art, I cannot get over how good the art is. Like, truly, the art is so freaking good. Definitely give this a try. Okay, next, I found this completely just literally browsing on Libby for manga. This is Wave, Listen to Me, Volume 1. Apparently this came out as an anime. Everything's an anime now. And this is essentially a story about a woman who is she's just gotten broken up with, and she drunkenly rambles to some dude in a bar, and the next morning when she's working at the restaurant she works at, her drunken rambles are aired on the radio station, and she like rushes over there and demands they stop, but they don't want to, you know, have any dead air. And so they make her go on, and then she kind of like talks a little bit more, and I guess they like her so much she kind of becomes part of the radio show. But then also it's just kind of like all of her parts of her life are kind of falling apart. Didn't like this, didn't like the main character, didn't like any of the side characters, didn't like the art, didn't like anything about this. I didn't hate it, but I just like nothing about this appealed to me. Nothing. The art was just ugh. I really didn't like the main character. She was just very angry and an asshole, but everybody else was an asshole too, so couldn't blame her for that. Just no. I didn't like it. All right, next. I read There's No Freaking Way I'll Be Your Lover Unless ... Volume 1. Another one that I just picked out because that title. This is another high school Yuri. And so here's the thing about this. This is a story of a girl who wasn't popular in middle school, so when she goes to high school she tries really hard to fit in and make friends, but she's kind of introverted, and it's very exhausting to her. One day she's on the roof of the school trying to get away to just re-energize, recoup, and she's standing near the edge, and the most popular girl, the most beautiful girl, shows up there and thinks she's gonna jump, so she saves her, and they have a heart-to-heart. And the girl, the first girl is like, oh my god, do I have a best friend? The other girl confesses her love to her, and then she's like, and then like the first girl doesn't think that's true and they just want to be friends. The other girl was like, well, I love you, we could be girlfriends, and you know, how about this? How about we try? Some days we'll be girlfriends and some days we'll be just friends. And they agree to try it. And it's just like, the problem with this setup for me, the entire volume, is that this setup means that the one girl who is in love with the first girl doesn't give a single fucking shit about the fact that the first girl doesn't want to date. Hello. No. So that bothered me so much. It bothered me so much. Yeah, so they're trying, it's trying to do all these things where like the typical romantic things, and how the first girl is like maybe kind of seeing her in like the light sometimes and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, no. The very setup of this is just so gross to me. And I just, unfortunately, that's the way it came across in my head, and I just really didn't like that. So it did not stick with me, and I will not be going on this series. And then finally, the Apothecary Diaries. I read volumes 2 through 6 in 2 days. This is how I finished off the month. I really like this. I read volume 1 a year ago, 2 years ago maybe. I don't remember what my rating, it's probably a 3. I don't remember why I didn't continue on, but now that like I've continued on, I love it. So it follows, it's set in like historical, Yield historical town, and this young girl who, I think she's like 14, she grew up in the concubine district. Her father's an apothecary. In the first volume, she is dragged into the inner court and becomes like a lady in waiting and poison taster for one of the consorts of the king. And in the second volume, it's shown that she has a lot of like detective skills. She's smart, she figures things out. She's basically a little detective, and she has this like obsession with poisons, where actually she grew up like drinking poisons to learn about poisons and their effects and stuff, and she kind of loves the way poisons make her feel, like the numbness and the weird feeling and stuff like that. And then there's also this court eunuch who is kind of obsessed with her, and she is very like, he's just a huge simp for her, and she is very oblivious to how he actually feels. So the volumes are just her going around the court, solving mysteries. And one thing about this that I really like is that there is an incredible gradient and balance of humor on one end and like really dark shit on the other, because this series, it's like she's a maid for one of the consorts of the king, the 4 consorts of the king. There's a lot of talk about the political stuff about that, them having kids, etc., the types of consorts they are. Just talk about the reality of having like a 13-year-old consort. Like, is the king, it's a good thing the king likes one consort more, because there's like a lot of serious stuff. And the girl, like, she grew up with in the concubine, like the pleasure district, so she grew up in pleasure houses, so she knows all about sex and all of that happens. And there's a lot of like really dark tinged stuff that kind of balances out. So you have like the kind of silly fun moments here that balances out with her being Mao being incredibly smart and solving crimes, which is really cool to watch. And then with the kind of dark stuff. And oh my god, volume 6, that ending of volume 6. I haven't had time to pick up volume 7 because of work and stuff, but wow, volume 6 ended so well. So yeah, this is one of my new favorite series. I am just so into it. I love Mao so much. I wasn't quite a fan of, what's his name? Is it Jinshi or something like that? The guy who's obsessed with her, but she was Mao along with like a ton of other ladies were like excused from the court, and he ends up bringing her back to work directly as his maid. So, and then a lot of the like mysteries that she solves in like these volumes. In volume 6 has kind of come together, and then there's also this like creepy guy with glasses where there's a big reveal about him, which is interesting. So volume 6 was great. So I'm just looking forward to continuing this. I really love it. Like, I am so in love with Mao Mao as a character. I love her. So yeah, that has been my 30 and 30. This was good. I am absolutely continuing in my manga reading right now. I'm just so into it. So yeah, thanks to Izzy and Shay and Ashley, and I believe Brie is like a co-host as well. Izzy and Shay especially for always like pushing this and hosting this and doing lives and stuff. I wasn't able to get to every live, but it was really great. Yeah, I'm gonna continue devouring a lot of manga. Let me know if you've read any of these, what your favorites are, and if you have any suggestions for anything I should read, knowing like what I have read this month and what I seem to like. I would love some more suggestions because I didn't grow up reading manga, so I don't really know what to read. I do know, like, you know, all the classics, all the big stories, but I'm still finding my footing in terms of like what I actually like. So yeah, I am figuring things out. That's why I just keep trying stuff here and there. I'm not the hugest, despite how much romance I read, I am not the biggest romance reader. I just not. So it has to be something really outstanding for me to really like in romance. I will try stuff, but just if it's just the point, it's just romance, it doesn't quite get me. I need like other stuff. And I do like slice of life, which somehow for some reason I either need it to be slice of life where nothing is happening and it's just cozy, or I need like plot and stuff like that. So there's a big swing in like what I like in romance and manga apparently. Anyways, as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye.